Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 53 of Absolute Scenes. I am your hostess with the mostest, Tom Rouse, and to my west, the blondest boy in cardigan, Billy Roach. How you doing?
I'm good. I think most people now call me Ginger Tom, but I'll take
Oh,
the blondest. I am adamant I'm blonde, but yeah, I think the beard doesn't help. Doesn't help it. But yeah, I'm good, Tom. How are you?
yeah. Talking of ginger people, one of the kids that I was covering in the classes, one of the classes that I was covering today, said that I look like Conan O'Brien. Can you see that? I had a mask
Yeah,
on at the time, but it's the
yeah,
hair, isn't it? I think it looks
yeah,
a
yeah,
bit Conan
yeah. My mum,
O'Brien.
I sent a picture, the picture of you to my mum, and everyone saying, "Look, you need to donate to Tom for Movember. Look at what he's putting himself through." And she laughed more at your hair, saying you've got a pineapple on top of your head than the moustache. So SpongeBob
Well,
SquarePants over there, who
yeah,
living
you
in a
can
pineapple.
tell. Those of you who are watching on YouTube will be able to see my moustache this week because last week there was a bit of a problem because I was too fair, and there was a two podcast that I appeared on Wednesday where they asked me, "Am I doing Movember?" So I thought I need to put the effort in. So Alice was dyeing her roots the other day, so I thought let's take advantage of this, and I whacked it on my upper lip as well for a bit of fun. But
Okay.
I've now raised £83 at the moment, so my little target of 100 is not too far away. We've promised as well to contribute a little bit towards that at the end of the month, so we'll definitely get over 100 now because of the listens that
Yeah.
we've had. But yeah, just to reiterate, for every listen that we get during the month of November, we're going to donate £1 to Movember. And I just got to thank as well Huss, who's a supporter of the podcast and of my YouTube channel, was the first person to get the ball rolling a couple of days ago, donated a little bit of money and sort of gave me a kickstart to get things going. But then we've had quite a few contributions from various people over the last couple of days, which I'm very, very grateful for.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start off with your competition then, Billy. So you've said you've got a few answers. Can you play the clip for us first of
Yeah.
all, and then I'll give you my answer. You'll go through some of your answers as well, and we'll see
Yeah. Yeah.
who
Well,
wins the
not my
big
answers. People who've
prize.
answered to me.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
Yeah. Ready?
absolutely.
McCoist finds McAllister. Sets it up for McCoist. Oh, yes! Brilliant goal, Ali McCoist!
So there's not
Yeah.
many.
Did you hear that, Tom?
I did hear it. Yeah, there's no quibbles about who scored the goal. So it was Ali McCoist, and
Yeah.
my thought was for Scotland at Euro '96. I couldn't quite remember who was in their group. Although then, because of Harry Mansell's answer, remembered who was in the group. So it was Switzerland, Holland, and England. Obviously, Harry
Mm-hmm.
Mansell tweeted in Switzerland. I can't imagine that they scored a goal against Holland. So I think I'm going to have to side with Harry with Switzerland for my answer, unless they perhaps scored a goal at France '98. We'll have to wait and see. Billy, what about the answers that you got given?
So I had Chris Winsell, one of my friends. He put Rangers v Motherwell '94 was his answer, because I know you were you said you had to check as well in regards to that era as well, because you were thinking, I think, that the same sort of thing. And then I sent it to my sister's fiance.
Famously Scottish. Yeah.
Who is famously Scottish, and he agreed with you with McCoy scoring a goal against Switzerland. Switzerland in Euro '96. So they were the answers as well. My parents did have a guess as well, but I can't remember what they said. I'm not going to lie. I didn't write it down. But I think my dad said Rangers as well. I think something sticks out. But it is, you are right, Tom. It is Scotland winning 1-0 against Switzerland in Euro '96. The last time they qualified for the Euros. Hence why I chose the clip. And I think it was the only goal that they scored. I think they actually scored against England. I think they did score against England.
I don't.
No, they don't. No, they didn't. They lost 2-0. I think.
Yeah.
I lost 2-0 because
they had a penalty.
Yeah. They had that was it, because a clip I was originally going to play was the penalty. And the penalty miss, because that was when they last played England in the Euros. But then I obviously thought I'll have a more positive spin and find the goal. So they scored against Switzerland, not whatever I said before. So that's last week's answer. So Tom, I think Harry was first to send in his answer, because obviously we put it up on Twitter. And he actually adhered to the rules of answering on Twitter, whereas these boys have texted me the answer. So do you want to share what his mystery prize was before I play the next clip?
Yeah, so Harry, if you get in touch with us with your name and address, I will send you a chocolate bar in the post of your choice.
I was going to say, is there a specific chocolate bar, or so he gets to pick? Oh,
you can have whatever
I wonder what
he
he's
likes.
going to pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so
maybe you should do a poll.
Do you want to set us up? Yeah, we'll do a poll. What chocolate bar will Tom send Harry for winning the quiz? So Tom, do you want to set us up, because you'd like to set us up so I can clip this later on for Twitter for the next one?
So if you know the answer to the following clip, if you know where this clip of commentary came from, then get in touch with us in the comments to this tweet. Hit it, Billy. Whenever you're ready.
But we haven't been able to control the play in midfield the way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. It's a brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals.
Okay, I hope I'll play it again in a second, but I hope you were able to hear that, Tom. I just wanted to check. Was it coming through clearly?
It was coming through clearly. I think we do need to hear it once more, but it was quite clear. I think I instantly know the goal. Interesting to hear Martin Tyler as well from that kind of era. Just shows how long he's been around and how he desperately needs to retire now. But yeah, let's hit it one more time. If you know the answer, get it in the tweets below, the replies. Oh, Billy. What are you doing now?
I don't know. I clicked a button. Hang on. Here we are.
Able to control the play in midfield the way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. It's a brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals.
So it's because I've got this on YouTube, and I think the advert was still playing, so I had to then obviously. But there we are. You've had it twice now. Don't obviously share, Tom, what you think your answer is. We'll obviously keep that for later on, for next week. But yeah, there you are.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to say there's going to be a prize again.
Yeah, of course, there's always going to be a prize. There'll always be a prize. As we've just mentioned him now, we'll just quickly move the order around then. So, time recording. Thursday evening. It was last night, that it was announced that Diego Maradona had passed away, and then thoughts and tributes towards him have been flooding in through the day today. However, as it's probably slightly before, well, it's considerably before our time. He played in the World Cup in '94. Really past his best at that point, but one of the great footballers of all time, I think voted so by FIFA, and the goal of the century was the goal against England in 1986 in the World Cup there. But also, of course, a very tragic story as well, with his demise and his failure to control his... what's the word I'm looking for? Addictions, yeah. And the stories coming out now from various sources that go back to his cocaine addiction started in the 80s when he was at his peak. Yeah. And he's like turns. I can't remember who it was. I read an article from Guillem Balaguer this morning, the Spanish football correspondent on the BBC, and he said that he spoke to Maradona about his addiction, and he said, he won the World Cup in 1986. Shortly after then, he turned to somebody and said, "Imagine what I could do if I was clean." And then you read about all the tackles and stuff that were put on him, and the way that he changed football in the way that those kinds of players were now treated, like if Messi's able to do what he can do now because he's not being clobbered and having his legs broken all the time, every game. So he did a lot to change the game. It's just another flawed genius and another tragic story.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is really tragic. Because obviously he was at Barcelona. He moved to Barcelona from Boca Juniors. Was it not from Boca Juniors or from Argentinos Juniors? He started at Argentinos Juniors.
Yeah, then
and I've seen them play. Went to that stadium and watched them play Boca when I was in South America. So managed to see that. That was something that was quite a spectacle. There was just everywhere. He's just plastered everywhere, as you can imagine, over Argentina. And this was, 3 years ago. So yeah, went there and he moved to Barcelona, and then he broke his leg, I think, or his ankle.
Bilbao.
And then went to Napoli, and famously went to Napoli when they were basically a relegation fighting team. They weren't anything spectacular. And then churned them into these champions through his mentality and things like that. And then that was I think they won the championship the year after he won the World Cup.
So I read that this morning, because when he first went there, they were a little bit reluctant to use him in the correct way or work with him and sort of accept his craziness. So they ended up finishing 15th in his first season there, then third in his second season, and then they ended up winning 2 Scudettos, which is for Napoli now are regarded as quite a big team, but back then, like you said, they were relegation challengers. They were very ordinary, and they've just announced that they're going to rename the stadium after Maradona.
That's what I was about to get on. That was what I was about to get onto. So it was a case of now, because of what he's done for the club. It's unfortunate that it's through his death that they've decided to do that. But again, I think he has put that club on the map in particular. But I've seen other things, I think Villas-Boas has come out and said that all football clubs should retire the number 10 and things like that, which is bizarre. It's obviously yesterday in the Champions League, they were all obviously paying their respects. Gary Lineker was talking about him and that famous warm-up he does where he's juggling the ball to music and he's just booting the ball high up in the air, and he does it like so many times. And then because I think they were at Barcelona around the same time.
Well, no, they weren't. So he did play with Maradona once, Lineker, but this was as a rest of the world 11 against the English Football League in 1988. But yeah, they didn't play together at Barcelona. They had both passed through Barcelona. But
they just missed in the night, as they say. And he was saying how they were all trying to replicate this amazing ball juggling skills that he can do, booting up in the air. And I think the maximum one of them got was like 3, and he was doing double, triple that. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it, because it is fantastic. But yeah, it's George Best and Gascoigne are probably in similar lights where it's the what ifs. They could have those eclipse them, like you say. Messi, Ronaldo now are hailed as these amazing athletes and things like that. But if you'd have taken someone from back then and put them in now, we're not saying that they could have been better, or because obviously the rest of the team has also improved. Like the goalkeeper and things like that, the pitches and stuff like that. But you imagine that how good they were on these bobbly pitches, like you say, especially like Maradona, who's this small. He wasn't physically. He wasn't particularly quick, or he wasn't particularly tall or strong. He was just really good at dribbling. And he was saying that when he moved to Italy, it was such more of a physical game and stuff that he had to learn to quicken his game, and then he could learn to do all his skills at a much faster pace. Otherwise, he'd have just been, swallowed whole. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's a shame that it's come to this and stuff, because obviously Boca now. I don't know if you've seen the image. They turned off all the lights around the stadium, and they just had this one beaming light shining out through, and it was from his box, because he has a box at Boca, and he's obviously going to be missed there and stuff. But he was so passionate. When I was there, everyone loved him, and he was just adored by everyone. And it was just he was just crazily, the passion that he had for football was immense. People think like Di Canio was bonkers or Mario Balotelli, but this guy was off his trolley in terms of how much he loved the sport and stuff. So very sad to see him go.
It's very important as well for the younger listeners to this podcast or younger people in general to go and actually watch him play football and clips of him, because he's before our time as well. I can't remember him playing at all, but he's the only player from that kind of era, from the 70s and from the 80s, that I think is amazing. There's no other player in that era who can do what he does with the football. And then, as you said, take into consideration everything else, what the game was at that point, it's unbelievable. But all young people would have seen of him was the terrible pictures of him from the World Cup 2 years ago in Russia, when he was just he's obviously, similar to Gascoigne, fallen into a crowd where they're not really interested in his health or his best interests. They just wanted to ride on the back of his success, on his coattails, and enjoy the lifestyle that he would provide. And he fell into mafia sort of business as well in Naples. It was very, very sad to see his very slow demise. I mean, we're talking of nearly 30-year demise, really, from Italia 90, where he was already addicted to cocaine, to now. It's really a wonder that he lasted this long. In fact, Guillaume Balaguer, when he was writing in his article, he's just written a book. I think he's just finished writing a book about Maradona. He said he discovered so much stuff through his research, and he just said he didn't think that he would make it to 60. So it's a miracle, really. And if you think George Best, who died 15 years ago yesterday as well, so that's a bit of a coincidence, he only made it to 59. So it's amazing, really, to think how short these people live for. But it's definitely, I mean, we're talking of a broader context now of like musicians and things like that who have such creativity and such passion for what they do, that their star sort of burns out a lot quicker than most others. You think of Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, bright. Amy Winehouse, even. There's lots and lots of people who have died well before their time. So moving on from that, then let's lighten the tone a little bit. I've got a new feature for you, Billy. It's called Sky Sports Memes. Okay. And I've got a little theme for you. I've got a sting. You ready?
Yeah. Now, football. Everton, Manchester United, Leeds United, United, West Bromwich, Tottenham Hotspur, Leicester City.
There we go. Then this is the sports section of the podcast. Sky Sports Memes. Billy, you sent me that clip a couple of weeks ago. That's edited quite heavily, but talk us through the clip.
That clip is brilliant. That clip is brilliant. Oh, it's so funny. It's I don't know. It's obviously some sports newscast. I hope it's real. I really hope it's real. And this poor news anchor trying to read, and they are, like Leicester and things like that, and the words where you're looking at them, and he's obviously sounding the words out, but it doesn't match what the word actually is. And some of them, when you're just there, like Sheffield United, and you're just like, he's basically speaking Welsh. It's so funny. If you haven't seen it, we'll have to include a link somewhere, because it is so funny to watch. It's really long as well, and you're just there because he goes through all the British teams. He goes through the Premier League, and then he goes on to the Serie A, and it just like snowballs, because it's like internazionale, and even I can't say it properly. And so you can imagine what he's like, and it's just like, it's go watch it. Just go watch it. Yeah. Go on then, Tom. What's the feature?
That's just the sting. So the feature is each week. Just so turns out that you've actually sent me this as well, and I thought it has to be included. So anything to do with sport that is hilarious that needs to be included is going to be on the podcast. It has to be an audio feature, obviously, because predominantly this is an audio podcast.
We are a podcast.
Although nearly 100 listens or 100 views on YouTube last week, and quite a few comments as well saying that they enjoy the podcast, which is very pleasant. So this is the podcast. This is the podcast. This is the Sky Sports meme of the week, and it's taken from Gloucester versus I can't remember who it was, Geisley or maybe somebody like that. So it's from the Vanarama National League North, I think. And it's, well, let's let it speak for itself. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Guysey AFC here at Nethermore Park for another Vanarama National North game between, this time, the Lions and the Tigers. Hold on, guys, we'll have to do that again. I've got a call. Hello? Hello? No, it's not Amanda. Sorry? Oh. No. We've not got an Amanda here. Is she in the Gloucester crowd? Yeah, Amanda who? Hodgkiss. Oh, sorry, I misheard. So I want Amanda Hug and Kiss. Oh. Why are you laughing? Look, this is the 15th time since Tuesday. Okay? He's hung up. Didn't even wait to be reprimanded. Unbelievable.
There's a lot to be unpicked there. The fact that he sounds so much like Alan Partridge / John Richardson is brilliant. The line at the end where he says, "Didn't even wait to be reprimanded." Unbelievable. Amazing.
But it's more your introduction as well, Tom. I think that just summed it up. You just fumbling over. It's this against this. It's just, it all eclipses this podcast. I think it's just us two being absolute buffoons and just finding stupid things hilarious.
So if you have a meme or a silly video that could be included in our podcast, a new feature, Sky Sports Memes, then please send it to us on Twitter, and then I can include it in the podcast. So moving on.
Just as a note, Tom, before we move on, it doesn't have to be Sky Sports, even though we've called it Sky Sports. It can obviously be from other various sporting establishments, if you will.
Yeah. Well, Gloucester versus Geisley was not broadcast on Sky Sports this week, unfortunately. So, yes, anything hilarious from football, please send it to us. So, Billy, I've got another podcast idea for you.
Okay, here we go.
And
this is going to be great.
What I'm most interested in at the moment is creating a podcast that's going to have lots and lots of episodes. I want, longevity in a podcast. I don't want just, like I limited myself last time. I realised that, reviewing the Premier League season 2011-2012, it can only possibly have 380 episodes. Maybe 381 if you then have a retrospective looking back on the whole podcast series itself.
Yeah.
But what I thought
that could be a two-parter, Tom.
Yeah, and of course you could have the build-up to it as well. You could have a preview to the season, all that sort of stuff. It could possibly work, right? We could get as many as 383 episodes. However, this one, I am really pleased with this idea because this has got legs. This has got legs for longevity. It's called Chess Moves. And what we're going to do is each week we're going to really analyse.
Play a game of chess?
No, Billy. No. We're going to... It's an hour-long episode each week, and we're going to discuss every possible move on a chessboard, which I believe there are millions of possibilities. So this is a podcast that's going to span generations.
Yeah, it is. It's. I don't know about an hour talking about a single move. I'll have guests on sometimes. Other times it'll just be me talking about, pawn from E5 to E6. But other times there'll be like, we'll get a famous Russian chess player on who very famously moved his knight from... that is going to happen. There are going to be famous moves that have already been made. There will also be moves that have never been made. And we'll just have to, perhaps we'll get an expert on chess or on the probability, on the chances of this move actually happening within a game. I think it's really interesting, Billy. Statistically, yeah. I think, you're going to hit lots of stats. All the stats lovers out there are going to love this podcast, and obviously chess players as well, and obviously the guests as well. You've got these, unlimited amount of guests there as well. But it could work, Tom. I think it could be a case of you play a game of chess over a podcast and just, talk about, right, you've moved and just quote the moves. And then obviously people can play along with you.
Yeah.
That could be another option you could look at.
Well, Billy, you've preempted me there because I was going to share this with you next week, but I may as well share it with you today. One of my other ideas is actually called board games. And each week we do exactly what you just said. But I was just thinking of, at the moment, I'm just thinking of legs and just making podcasts go for, years and years.
Well, if you want a podcast with legs, why don't you just review legs? That could be
that's a good idea. And there's you've got
millions of people,
7 billion people.
Yeah. So there you go. And you could even review a leg at a time. So that obviously doubles the amount already.
14 billion episodes. Yeah. I didn't think about that actually.
You want to know a podcast with legs, Tom? There you go. I've just solved your problem. A podcast about legs.
Let me just make a note of that then. Legs. Lovely. Well, thank you for that, Billy. I feel really uplifted by your enthusiasm towards my podcast. I can't wait to record episode number 1 of Chess Moves with you. But let's move on to the next feature, which is this. Anytime Now. Denmark government are allowing sex with domestic animals during Malcolm lockdown. Pike left an address at where he was the Brazilian Chico Rodriguez has stuffed 10,000 The government are banning babies to own businesses. A Dutch football team is not allowed to be sponsored by sex toys. A 3-year-old blood is swept off by a kite. Bears.
It's time for Believe It or Not.
You are fake news.
There we go. The former president of the United States of America there, Donald J. Trump. J, of course, like The Simpsons, standing for J. So, Billy, get your pens and pencils out. Fans of Believe It or Not. Everybody's favourite part of the show.
People wait, or they just skip to this part. They ignore everything else and just go straight to this part of the podcast. Okay, Tom, I've got 3 for you again this week. Okay. So I've got student climbs tree in order to learn online. Elton John's shopping list sets to hit the charts. Right. And actor lands role after Zoom malfunction.
Right then. Okay. So, very interesting stories here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the first one then. So, the student who climbs the tree to access online learning.
Mm-hmm.
What level of learning are we talking about?
University.
Okay. And which university was it?
I can tell you. I can't tell you the name of the university, but I can tell you where they're from.
Tell me where they're from, Billy.
Russia.
Of course. Right. Why did he have to climb a tree?
Because he only had the only internet he had at home was 2G, and had to then go to the nearest tree, which was pretty tall, and get a better internet coverage.
Wow. He's no chance of him getting coronavirus, then, is it? If he's only got 2G?
No. Yeah, it's in a little Serbian village.
I thought you said he was Russian.
Well, it says his remote Serbian village, which is what confused me. So he
lives in a Serbian village.
Sorry, Tom. I've misread. Right. I've misread Siberian.
Okay, that is in Russia, or at least I think.
Sorry,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
That sounds like you've just made it up. Okay. So, I mean, there's such little. What's his name?
His name is Alexia Dudalodov.
Say that surname again.
Dudalov.
Dudalov. Okay. My gut is that's made up. All of that is made up. Right. Tell me about old Rocket Man then, and old Wiggy. Why is his shopping list so? Well, just give me some more information about it first of all, and then I'll
Well, what do you want to know,
That's
Tom? I'm taking a new stance to this. You can ask me questions. I'm not just going to give you information. You can ask me about these.
I mean, that is how the game has always worked, but never mind.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm assuming his shopping list somehow has been turned into some lyrics of a song somehow. Is that true?
The handwritten shopping list, okay, includes a Grammy Award certificate, a medal, and various other luxury items. Volcanic ash soap, for example. Teeth whitener, anti-aging cream, designer trainers, fake eyelashes, diamond cufflinks, those sort of things, Tom.
Right. Is that it?
That's all I'm gonna tell you. That was your your question.
So when you say top of the charts, you don't mean the top 40? You don't mean the hit parade?
Potentially not. No.
So what other kinds of charts are there? You definitely said charts, didn't you? Is it the most expensive Christmas list ever?
Yeah. So you would probably you'll be looking to pay £10,000 for this.
Just for the shopping list? Is it a receipt? Is it a receipt?
No, not for the receipt. It's from an album. It's on an album, so it's going to pay £10,000 for this album.
Oh, I'm so confused. I'm really confused about this.
So basically, Tom, I'll help you out a bit here. Okay, so there's a one-off limited edition album with the song on which contains Elton John's shopping list.
By Elton John or by another artist?
No, it's not by Elton John. No, it's by Stephen Wilson is the name of the artist. Stephen
Wilson. Have you listened to any of this? Have you listened to this music? Are we able to listen to it? Is it on Spotify?
There's the YouTube video which I am not going to play, but I'm presuming it's on Spotify potentially.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right. Okay. Then. So this actor Zoom malfunction. That's what I've written down. So an actor gets a role after a Zoom malfunction.
Yeah.
So what exactly was the malfunction?
So basically, he was having an audition over Zoom, and malfunction's probably a loose term, but the director or the producer, the filmmaker, forgot to mute their audio, as we obviously tend to do sometimes on the podcast, and was heard belittling the actor. And has subsequently then had to give them a role in order to try and keep them quiet. But they've turned down and come out with this instead.
Oh, wow. So what kind of level of actor and director are we talking? Are they as high as Hollywood? Would we know the names, or are they up and coming?
I can tell you the name. It's... Hang on, let me get... Tristram Shapiro is the name of the director. I'm surprised you don't. He's done Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Tom, TV show. Okay. He's the director for that, and he's also done Gimme Gimme Gimme. I think he had something to do with the Alan Partridge show as well, Tom. So I'm surprised that you aren't aware of this director. And then the name of the actor, I just want to make sure I get this right, is Lucas. I think it's Gage. It's Gage. So I'm guessing it's Gage or Gage or something like that. Is the name of the actor. Right. He was caught, and he's landed a role on the new Vicar of Dibley remake.
There's a Vicar of Dibley remake. I didn't know.
Yes, yeah, the remake in Vicar of Dibley, and he's landed a role now. On that.
Such a shame. There's no need for that, is there?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What do you know the name of the film that he was auditioning for?
Yes, that's what he was auditioning for.
Oh, sorry.
The Vicar of Dibley. So he's now landed a role on that. I obviously don't know the name of the role because they haven't released anything about that, but he has now landed a role on that.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I believe that Zoom one to be true. That's the kind of thing that has happened and will continue to happen so long as people are working online. Unfortunate though it might be for Tristram Shapiro, and The name kind of rings a bell. I don't know. I mean, when he said Alan Partridge, maybe he's familiar. I don't know. So it's between the other two then. The stud. I've written stud, but it means student. Student climbs tree online lesson. Did we get enough information from that? It was just that his internet didn't work and he had to climb a tree. Did he actually work? Do we know whether it works or not?
It works. I can tell you it works.
Okay. Okay. And the Elton John shopping list one. Stephen Wilson might be an artist. I didn't really understand that one at all. So, I don't want to hear it again. So, I reckon that it was the student who climbed into the tree that was the fake story.
Okay. So, Elton John's shopping list has now appeared on this album, which is set to sell for £10,000. It's a limited edition, and the name of the album is called The Future Bites, and it's this Stephen Wilson's sixth album, and it's been manufactured as an ultra deluxe music product. That's what he's advertising it, and it's a bargain compared to the £1.5 million paid for a single CD copy produced by the Wu-Tang Clan. Once Upon a Time in Shondaland. So it's on that sort of chart is what it's going to appear on the most expensive albums ever released, because obviously it's a limited edition. So that is true. Okay. Now the other two is up for debate because there is a video of said student climbing this tree. In order to get internet connection, and I'll show. It's not a very good quality, so I don't want to show it online. But if you Google it, "student climbing tree for better internet," you'll find it. So that I'm saying is true. Now, I've bent the truth with Tristan Shapiro.
It sounds, Billy, like I've won again, but go on.
No, you haven't, because Tristan Shapiro and Luke Cage, the story that I have given you is true in the sense that there was a malfunction and Shapiro has slagged off the actor, but there hasn't been an offer of a role as a result of that. There's just been an apology. So I have bent the truth because this was originally going to be my true story, but then I saw the one about Elton John and I thought, he's going to know that one straight away, because I was going to make that up completely false and alter that one, but I thought, you'll know about that one. So it's a bit of a grey area this week. So
in the comments, boys and girls, you're gonna have to put whether I was right or not, because I feel robbed, I feel cheated, I feel abused.
I feel cheated because I've looked. So the news story for the student in the tree I saw in on the I newspaper, which is the newspaper that I get and stuff. And so it was in the newspaper stuff. Obviously, that's not just necessarily means it's true. And then there's this video, but I've not been able to find it on any other major outlets other than Yahoo News. And there's this video there on there. So I'm like, is this actually true, or is someone pulling the wool over? So I'm willing to accept defeat on this one, which would make, I think you got it right last week as well, didn't you? I
think I did, yeah. I think this is why you're struggling at the minute, Billy, because
well,
you know that I'm on good form.
I've banked a couple of good ones for next week because I thought, these are a bit grey and weak, and I thought I'll get them all out in one, and then I'll have a good week again next week. Because you rattled me last week, Tom. You rattled me last week.
It is, yeah, and got to hear. Right, it's time now for the final segment of the show, and it's time for Billy Roach's poll. I think it was better when I sang it last week, but never mind.
I mean, you sang it on the jingle as well. So I don't know.
That's true. So there's actually been two polls, hasn't there, Billy, this week? There's been one official one sanctioned by the government that is Billy Roach, and the other one was completely illegal with illegal votes. There was only 2 votes on it, which was quite annoying, really, but never mind.
I mean, that's pretty accurate for a poll that I normally do. If you consider that I normally only get around 1 or 2. So yeah. So do you want to start with yours, Tom, rather than me starting with my fantastic one?
Yeah, I will. So basically, we've been working on. I say we. Jason Bernard who's now, by virtue of doing this, has become a friend of the podcast, has been working on a logo for us. And he himself, I think, said that he wasn't happy with what he'd done. He wanted to be a little bit more colourful and vibrant. So he took the design that we'd chosen and has done now 3 different versions of it with different colours on it. And now we have to decide which one that we want. And I can't decide, to be honest. So I put it on Twitter and 2 people replied. One was Dave Azapardi, who is a Wolves YouTuber, and he liked number 1. And the other person was my mom, and she liked number 3. So we're none the wiser, but it's definitely not number 2 by the sounds of it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But hopefully by this time next week, I mean, it's been 3 or 4 podcasts now that we've been saying we've got a new logo coming, but it is definitely coming, and it will definitely make our podcast reach millions of people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely does. Well, by the time it comes out, we'll need to update it because you'll have shaved your moustache off, Tom, and we'll have obviously added that moustache just for the logo and stuff. So, so yeah. But so that was you trying to get in on my turf and drastically failing. My poll didn't do much better, Tom. It only had 7 votes. 7 votes this week. So it's been one that I've been wanting to do for a while, and judging by the lack of votes, I was right to put it off for as long as I have, because it's something that's been frustrating me, Tom. And I don't know if it's frustrating you as well. I something tells me that you are a little bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas at times. And it's people getting ready for Christmas in the month of November, even October, playing Christmas fills. Obviously, it fills the shops as soon as Halloween's over. It's even sometimes before. It just fills everywhere. So I asked the question of, when is it acceptable to start getting into the Christmas spirit? And the options were the 5th of November. I couldn't fit it in after the bonfire night because there wasn't enough space in the thing. So I just had to put 5th of November, bonfire night, 1st of December, 24th of December, or all year round. Now, because obviously there are people who are just Christmas fanatics and will just celebrate it all year round.
I've worked with somebody who celebrates on the 25th of June, which he has got a special date, but you might have to find it out yourselves. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But he gets his Christmas tree up. He has a Christmas dinner. They watch Christmas films on the 25th of June because it's the other half of the year, the other solstice, and or close to it. Have you got the name there, Billy?
Leon.
Yeah, Noel backwards, isn't it? Yeah, Noel backwards. Yeah, so I do know people like this, and he, like at Christmas time, we asked the children to bring in a Christmas jumper, and there's lots of kids that don't have one or weren't wearing one. He brought in 2 bin bags full of Christmas jumpers that he owned, and he just gave them out to basically the whole school. It was ridiculous.
I'm not. I'm not once I'm of the opinion, once the 1st of December hits, right, fine. I'm willing then to adhere to that. Obviously, being teachers and stuff, obviously, it's more towards the end of term, which is, I think, this year's the 18th of December. That's normally when, Christmas films, that sort of thing starts to happen. So we have that. How about you? Are you 1st of December or later on? Well, Christmas shopping for me doesn't start till the 1st of December, but go on.
Yeah, so I think I will give people a little bit of leeway this year. So I have seen a lot more houses decorated for Christmas earlier than they usually would be. And I think that's just because people have been locked down and they're bored and they want something to look forward to and they want something to do in the house. So that's fair enough this year. And it does seem to be that this year it is earlier than usual.
Yeah.
But so my brother's birthday's on the 18th of December. And as a family, there's a lot of times growing up that we didn't put the tree up until after his birthday. Yeah. So it wouldn't go up until like the 19th or the 20th. And then we'd all be off school. The tree would then go up and then you'd feel like cozy and Christmassy for a couple of days before Christmas. We were walking past the house the other day and I said to Alice, I can't imagine having that kind of feeling in the house for so long. You just lose that cozy feeling that you get over Christmas.
This is my argument. That's what my argument is I'm the similar sort of thing is, my family used to go away for Christmas every year. And it wasn't obviously until we got there we'd always go abroad, and we went to the same place for about 11 years. It was only then when we got there was like, right, this is Christmas sort of thing. And it's strange now that obviously we're not going there. We haven't gone now for the past few years and stuff like that. And it just feels strange and stuff. And obviously we're all grown up and we're all separated, and we try and have Christmas together and stuff like that. But it's like that short build up to Christmas makes it that more spectacular.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So on your poll, I had to vote for the 1st of December because that was the closest to what I would have.
Yeah.
Well, it probably wasn't actually in hindsight. It should have probably been the 24th of December because that's 6 days before rather than 20 odd days before. But I sort of start getting in the mood and I start looking forward to the end of term on the 1st of December. So next week I'll be, there's only 3 weeks left of term and I'll be looking forward to that. So go on, give us the results.
Harry, Harry,
I
just want to obviously point out, Harry Mansell, as we've already mentioned him once, has also put a comment on. Let me just load it up before I continue. I think it was on my... Yeah, so he said he put his Christmas tree up on the 23rd and takes it down on the 27th. So in similar sort of sense to you, I suppose, putting it up just before and taking it... Well, maybe not taking it down just after, but it sounds like Harry's in a similar vein to what we're like as well. But there was a resounding victory for the 1st of December. 86% of the votes went for the 1st of December, which I think is pretty acceptable. I think that's the
just about enough to win your US election.
Yeah, just about enough. But yeah, I think this year obviously is unique and everything, and we're not going to we're not going to mention anything like that about this week, what's been coming out and blah 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 blah. But yeah, I think we'll give some leeway this year, but next year 1st of December, otherwise we're not talking to you.
Correct. Right, and then let's wrap up the podcast then, Billy, with Billy Roach recommends.
So we've spoken about it already. My recommendation is the Diego Maradona biographical film, which is on Channel 4 for the next 29 days. It was released last year, and I've started watching it. I've watched about an hour of it today because it's only been released today. I would recommend everyone go and watch it because it is good. I've only seen an hour of it, and it goes through his life. It starts with it's looking at him, how he turned Napoli's fortunes around and goes back and forth, similar to The Last Dance, where it looks at Michael Jordan's career at a specific moment but bounces back and forth. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I've just got into the part now where his cocaine addiction is starting to get the better of him. So I think it's been really interesting. It's subtitled because it's a lot of the footage is home footage, and they've got common comments being made by Italians, Maradona himself, and obviously speaking, when he's in Argentina, blah blah blah, and all that sort of stuff. So there are subtitles. So if that's something that annoys you, because I know a lot of people don't enjoy films which are subtitled, I'm all right. I'm managing with my broken Spanish to sort of pick up on what they're saying and occasionally looking at the subtitles. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think in light of what we've just said, Tom, about people going out to find footage of Maradona, I think this is the perfect thing to see. And spoilers, if you've made it this far, it will help you with the answer for the classic commentary piece I played earlier.
You too could win a chocolate bar.
Yeah. Of your choice.
You have the freedom to choose. So on that note then, thank you very much for listening or watching on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if this is where you're watching it, or you can rate podcasts on various apps, on the Apple app, Acast app. I don't think you can do it on Spotify, but also on our Instagram now, there's a tidy little link in our bio. If you click that link, there are lots and lots of different places where you can find our podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube but you'd rather download it, have a look on our Instagram, which is Absolute Scenes Pod, I believe, or podcast, something like that. And then you can find where you prefer to listen to your podcasts on, and you can listen to us on there and rate us and share us with all your friends. And hopefully Anchor will work this evening and we can upload this right on time. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.